The next episode will begin exactly where the last one left us hanging. The streets of Tulsa feel quiet, but it is the kind of quiet that carries weight, like the silence before a storm. Dwight tries to show his crew that everything is under control, but behind his calm expression, there is a storm of suspicion. He knows too well that in this business, peace never lasts. He sits with his men, laying out plans for the next move, speaking with authority as he always does. Yet there's a subtle shift in the atmosphere. One man looks away at the wrong moment, hesitates when Dwight asks a direct question, or gives a half-hearted nod instead of strong loyalty. It's small, almost invisible, but to Dwight, who has survived decades in the mob, it's a warning sign. Someone close is slipping. As Dwight organizes his empire, across town another story is quietly unfolding. A new shadow moves into Tulsa. We don't see his face clearly yet, but his presence is undeniable. A black car parked too long, a figure watching from a distance, a short phone call spoken in whispers. Someone powerful is watching, studying Dwight's every move, waiting for the right moment to strike. At the same time, Dwight's personal life continues to complicate his already dangerous world. His daughter pushes him with questions he does not want to answer. She wants to know why certain people keep coming in and out of his life, why he always seems to have secrets hidden behind closed doors. He tries to brush it off, but his eyes betray him. For Dwight, the hardest battles are not the ones fought with guns or fists, but the ones fought at the dinner table with family. As the episode builds, we feel the tension tightening. The cracks in Dwight's empire are growing. The silence in the city is no longer peaceful, it's threatening. And by the time the first act closes, we know one thing for certain: episode 4 is not going to let him rest. The episode moves deeper into the night. Dwight begins to sense that the danger around him is not only coming from the outside, but maybe from within. He notices small inconsistencies in the behavior of his crew. A man leaves early without reason, another returns late with excuses that don't add up. And though no one dares confront him directly, Dwight can feel the walls beginning to shake. One of the most chilling moments could come in the form of a silent phone call. We see one of his closest allies step out into the dark alley, light a cigarette, and dial a number. We don't hear the full conversation. We don't even know who's on the other end. But the tone makes it clear: secrets are being sold. The betrayal we've been sensing is no longer a theory, it's happening right before our eyes. Meanwhile, the mysterious new rival is no longer content to stay in the shadows. There are glimpses of influence spreading across Tulsa. A strange face sits quietly at the bar, pretending to be just another customer, but his eyes scan everything. A new business front opens downtown, but insiders whisper it's just a cover for something bigger. The pieces are moving, and all of them are aimed at Dwight. Back at home, Dwight's daughter finally confronts him about the life he leads. The scene is heavy with emotion. She tells him she doesn't recognize him anymore, that he's always one step away from destruction. He tries to convince her that everything he does is for the family, but she's not convinced. For the first time, we see Dwight not as the king of Tulsa, but as a father who is slowly losing the one thing he cannot replace: his daughter's trust. By the middle of the episode, the tension is unbearable. The question is no longer whether Dwight has enemies, we know he does. The real question is who will strike first, and who will bleed when the storm breaks. The pace picks up as Dwight decides to test his own crew. He knows someone is leaking information, but he doesn't know who. So he sets a trap. He feeds different stories to different men, each one slightly different, waiting to see which one makes it back to the enemy. It is a dangerous game, but Dwight has always played dangerous games. Not long after, he gets his answer. The false story finds its way back into the streets, and with it, proof that one of his own is a traitor. The audience sees the confirmation, but Dwight still doesn't know exactly who it is. This uncertainty adds to the suspense. We're ahead of Dwight, but not by much. Meanwhile, the rival force makes its first move. It's not a direct strike against Dwight himself, but a warning shot. One of his businesses is attacked. Maybe it's a bar, maybe a warehouse, something that belongs to Dwight's empire. The damage is brutal, but the message is worse: you're not untouchable. This attack shifts the balance of power. Dwight realizes his enemies are not amateurs, they are calculated, organized, and ready to escalate. The war he's been trying to avoid is now coming straight for him. On the family side, his daughter stumbles into danger she doesn't even see. Maybe she's followed home by someone, or maybe she unknowingly walks into a place where Dwight's enemies are waiting. It's not a direct attack yet, but it's a clear signal: if they can't get to Dwight, they'll use his family as leverage. For Dwight, this is his worst nightmare. By the end of this session, the tension has risen to its highest point yet. Enemies outside, betrayal inside, and a family on the brink of collapse. Episode 4 is building toward a storm that can no longer be stopped. The final act of the episode takes us into darker territory. Dwight knows the threat is real, and he begins preparing for a counterattack. But his hands are tied, because the moment he steps too far, the law will come crashing down on him. And quietly, in the background, we see hints that the FBI is already watching. A car parked too long on his street. A man in a suit asking the wrong questions. The law is circling, waiting for him to make a mistake. At the same time, Dwight's daughter reaches a breaking point. She tells him she cannot live in constant fear, she cannot watch him destroy himself. Her words hit him harder than any bullet ever could. But even in this moment, Dwight can't show weakness. He simply promises her that he has everything under control, a promise we know he cannot keep. Then comes the reveal that changes everything. The traitor within Dwight's circle finally shows his hand. We might see him meet secretly with the new rival, shaking hands in the shadows. The audience knows the truth now, but Dwight doesn't. And that is the cruelest part. We are left watching as Dwight puts his trust in the very man who is sharpening the knife for his back. The rival's presence is now undeniable. A face emerges, powerful and dangerous. Not just another gangster, but someone with resources, connections, and ambition that match Dwight's own. For the first time, Dwight may be facing an enemy who can truly outplay him. By the end of this act, Dwight's world is cracking from every angle. And we know that the final blow is about to land. The climax of episode 4 is brutal. An attack comes, sudden and violent. Maybe it's an ambush on Dwight's men, maybe it's an assault on his business. But whatever form it takes, it sends a message loud and clear: the war has officially begun. Bullets fly, the screen fills with chaos, and for a moment it feels like Dwight himself may not make it out alive. His men scramble, his empire shakes, and blood is spilled. But Dwight survives, wounded, angry, and more determined than ever. And then, just when it feels like the dust is settling, the episode delivers its biggest twist. The traitor is revealed, not to Dwight, but to us. We watch as the supposed ally meets with the rival in secret, exchanging words, perhaps even money. It's the kind of betrayal that makes the audience gasp, because it isn't the obvious suspect. It's someone Dwight trusts completely, someone he would never suspect. The final moments of episode 4 will be burned into memory. Dwight sits alone, his empire bleeding, his daughter distant, his enemies closer than ever. He looks out into the night, trying to calculate his next move, unaware that the man sitting right beside him is the one holding the dagger. And with that, the screen cuts to black. A cliffhanger so sharp it leaves us counting the days until episode 5. Because now it's not just a fight for power, it's a fight for survival. The king of Tulsa has never been more vulnerable. And the question remains, can even Dwight survive the storm that's coming?